Okay, we're on the 6-speed, on the Massey Ferguson 1356 6-speed restoration series. You get to a stage on a job where there's a few little, just little tidy up, catch up things you need to do that you probably could have done earlier, but you didn't get round to it. But you come to a stage where you think, I'll just tidy up a couple of these little jobs. So that's what I'm up to at the moment. I found a couple of little jobs to tidy up that I hadn't followed up on, and I'll just pop a little bit of rag up in there so when we paint it we don't get paint all up through the thread there, which, look, it doesn't really matter if there's paint up in the thread. It's not something that stops it from working or anything, but yeah, just there's no sense to it. So one of the things you may notice here, if you've got a bit of an eagle eye, is there's a tap sticking out here. Now I didn't film this early bit, but I noticed when I was getting ready to put the injector studs in, I was having a look down the holes, making sure they were clean and all that, then I noticed that I'd left a copper washer down the bottom. So what I've done, I've actually screwed a, oh, what's that? That's a, oh, it'd be good to read it. Yeah, look, I can't, about 10 by 1.5 metric or something like that. Actually, it's 3/8 UNC. But what I did, I just screwed that down and let it engage with the copper washer. Now it's stuck. And so I just took it down until I could just feel it biting in a little bit, and then I pulled it out. Now I don't believe any rubbish fell off, you know, any bits of thread fell off inside or anything like that, but yeah, it's just something I'd missed, so I thought I had it half out before I showed you, and I thought, oh shit, that'd be interesting. Bloody hard to get good help, isn't it, really? But now we've got that out, we'll pop a little bit of rag down the hole. And that's just so nothing else falls in there while we're having a fiddle here. Now, we have a few studs to go in, and they're injector studs. You'll notice that on the injector studs there's a short thread that goes into the block and a long one that comes out. Now they're 5/16 UNF, and what I like to do with them is, if we just screw them in like that there with a nut on the top and bring it down, at a later date when we do decide that we'd like to pop the injectors out or have something to do with the injectors here, well, these are just as likely to come out, and we don't really want that. So I'll just grab my 1/2 inch spanner, and what we do, we pop a couple of nuts on the top and we jam them together. So I had a spanner over here just a moment ago. There it is. Stop looking, I found it. And look, all we do here, we lock the two threads together. You have to do it hard. A bit of a drop of Loctite. I think we probably need to go and find more Loctite. Oh, there's a little bit there. And we run this little thread here right down. That's bottomed out. You can see we've run out of thread. We just nip him up. Don't have to be over tight. Now that there, we can undo the nut there, and away we go. Now there's a long nut and a short nut. The long nut goes down over the back, so when you want to get over your injector to undo it later on for standard servicing, you can actually get in there okay. So we'll put another couple of these studs in. There's not much Loctite there, Lance. So once again, we're just locking that up onto the locking the thread up, and same procedure. So now we know that if later on we do like to pop the injectors out for testing or anything like that, the bolts or the studs are going to stay put, and we can just fiddle with it like that. So I'll do these others and I'll get back to you once I'm down here a little bit. Okay, we're just about done on the last one. I've had to shift the microphone. We've got a lovely breeze coming through at the moment into the shed here, Bundy Bear shed, but yeah, on the camera there I could just see a little trace of wind noise coming through, so I've shifted it now to behind a behind a sandwich board. I might be able to swing you around and show you that. So I've got a sandwich board sitting there with trying to protect the microphone here while we're filming. We were just getting a bit of a just getting a little register on the sound bars on the camera, so we've shifted things around a little bit, shifted the furniture. We can't stop the shed from creaking. You're going to pick that up any old day, but in here. Okay, so that's got all the studs in for the injectors. Now these big holes here, they're the exhaust ports, and look, it's the same process for there. The short thread goes into the block, so we'll just pop a couple of those in. Well, there's only 4 of them to put in, so it's no big deal, is it? There's a little bit of manifold work to do. It's being bodged up a little bit, so we'll try and work with that. Now, oh look, I'll put a little bit of Loctite in, but normally on an exhaust stud, it'll get that hot that the Loctite probably won't do any good. But it's one of those things, if it's not going to do any good, will it do any harm? Well, no, it won't. So we'll just take that out. And look, it's the same reasoning behind it all, as if we make sure they're nice and firm in there. If we ever need to get them off, we will. Now these nuts that I'm using here, they're just normal CAD plated nuts. What we're going to use is brass nuts. So the idea is to put your manifold on, put the brass nuts on with a flat washer behind them, and that way we don't have trouble ever with everything seizing on, so we can't move it. So we'll just do another one of these. Yeah, a lot of little loose ends, they can take up your time when you're doing a restoration, and just little knickknacks, and you think, oh no, I want to see that bit. So anyway, you're seeing it. We're not going to put the exhaust manifold on until the injector pipes are on. They go in between the manifold here, and there's a little story about them when we get to them, about if you just buy a set of set of injector pipes for a 135, you can get the wrong ones. 1 and 2 will fit, but 2 and 3 will fit, but number 1 won't fit. The later injection pumps. on the top of the pipe, on the top of the pump on the number 1 here where it comes out and down. The other pumps have an elbow coming up there, and I can show you that later on the multi-power. It's a later engine. So we'll just... So when you're restoring tractors and playing with tractors like I do in the shed here, there's a lot of potholes to fall in. I don't miss many. Well, I haven't missed many over the years anyway. That's experience, I suppose. When you make a few mistakes along the way, well, you learn. Well, hopefully you learn. We're starting to get our summer north easterlies coming in, and they come in the front door, which is nice to have a breeze, but when you're recording, it's a hassle. I actually got rid of my Nokia camera because it was that sensitive to the wind. Yeah, I couldn't, even with microphone, bits and pieces I tried to do, I just couldn't get rid of the wind, so I gave that to the missus. Well, there you go, have a camera. Now I'm back to using Panasonic Lumix cameras that I can plug mics in, and I can plug my little furry kitten microphone in, and hopefully we can get rid of this bloody wind noise. And we'll just tighten these lock nuts up on the stud. I'm doing this out of frame because in frame's way over there and I'm way over here. Now these two holes here, that's for a lifting bracket, a little bracket that comes up for lifting the engine, sort of similar to this fella here. But I'd never had one on there. I would have had one originally, but yeah, I didn't have one, so I'll probably just grab a couple of bolts and put in there just to fill the gap so the mud dauber wasps don't build in there. God, they build in everywhere, those bloody things. And there we go, we'll let that Loctite set. Just tidy up a bit of Loctite from around things. When the injectors go in, they have these rubber seals. I seem to be one of those missing for some reason. I'll see if I can find one, but yeah. Okay, that's it for loose ends just for the moment. I'll find something for there just to block them up. Okay, another part of our tying up loose ends video will just be popping the starter motor back on. Now the starter was working fine on this tractor, so I'm not going to replace it just for the sake of replacing it. It was starting well. The fella I bought it off, Tim, he said it was a pretty new starter motor, and I think I can actually remember him coming in buying it. But we have a long bolt that goes in the back here, and I always try and line this back one up. Just line it up, not do it up. There we go. That's up the hole. Now this fella here, the long one there. He goes from the front to the back with a spring washer and a nut. 7/16 UNF nut. And this bottom fella, we line him all up just to him up finger tight. So now we've got that, you can rock it around a little bit. I try and just keep it in the central position. Now, that gives me a chance to come in from behind here and tighten this back bolt. And if this is hard to do, you can actually rock the starter around a little bit to make it easier. Boy, that wind's coming in now. Hopefully it's not blowing out on the video too much. We got rafters rattling and all sorts of things happening. But this is a pretty basic job. Nothing too exciting about it at all. Now we hold this one with the ring, with the open end of them. Really give him some on here. Really give him some here. And I'll go and get an extension and come in through the back. What I thought was an extension was a bloody breaker bar. Hang on, I'll be back. Okay, there you are. I am back. I wasn't bullshitting. I'll just nip this little fella up here. Nip that up, that's nice and tight. Okay, I don't really rattle that one up the back there. I don't overdo that because coming in here sometimes it can be a bastard to get off. But this here, I just cover the thread up here a little bit with those, make sure they're okay. And look, this side of the engine's pretty good. I still haven't put a bit of tape on that rear tacho drive. I'll have to do that. But look, this side's pretty good. When I get some, when I get an injector pipe that I've ordered, we'll pop those injectors in, and that'll do for loose ends.